Good morning, everybody. It is Monday the 23rd, and I'm feeling a lot better than I did yesterday. A whole lot better than I felt Saturday. Saturday, I felt like death warmed over. Saturday, it literally felt like I don't know what happened while I was out cold, but I feel like I got, a bug. And they were like, oh no, that's just one of the side effects. So, one of the side effects of getting a colonoscopy is waking up and having 2 days worth of feeling like shite. Thanks. If I knew that beforehand, I would have been like, nah, no, thank you. Um, but I will say that the plus side of the colonoscopy is one, I found out I'm healthy still. I remember when I was a kid and they would tell my parents that I was healthy as an ox. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, I'm clean. I'm healthy. They didn't give me a timeline to when I should come back. The one nurse almost sounded like, oh, we'll see you next year. I gotta do this again in a year? So I'll have to look at my paperwork and my after notes on my portal to see what it says. Because if it says, you know, in a year, come back, I'll be like, do I have to? Because the pre-op, the whole like 5-day purge of your system, um, not something I like, not something I want to think about. The whole idea, mostly because of the factor of the first 2 days are just basically prep. The third day is a light diet. In other words, no heavy foods, no mass quantities. Um, and the day before the actual operation is basically Gatorade, Miralax, and no heavy foods. Basically, the only thing I can have on that day, the pre-surgical day, or procedure day, however you want to put it, is nothing but liquids and Gatorade or with Miralax. Don't have to take any pills or Duralax, just the Miralax, just the powder that you can mix into Gatorade. If you ever go to get a colonoscopy, they tell you, or at least my doctor has told me, that you get the Miralax. They tell you how many ounces, and I can't remember off the top of my head how many ounces it was. You can get, if you cannot get a 64-ounce bottle of Gatorade, you can get two 32s, or I think I spread it out between three 28-ounce bottles, which was it was like 4 ounces above the 60, but I spread them out between the three bottles and shook them up real good to mix the Miralax in. And as soon as I got up, breakfast consisted of a bottle of Gatorade. Now, they don't tell you to chug it, because if you chug it too fast, it reacts very quickly. And yeah, I'm not going to get into details, but I don't know what was worse, the cramping or the, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm gonna get a little graphic, so I apologize to anybody who don't like graphics. But at first start, yeah, I could have become a cannon. Of course, me being me, I was like, I'm not gonna leave this mess for anybody to clean. I'm gonna clean it up myself. But I will tell you this much: the feeling you get after the cleanse, before the actual appointment, yeah, you feel weak. You feel a little like lightheaded because you're literally emptying everything from your stomach all the way down to your large intestines out. You got to clean all that out. Otherwise, it takes a little bit longer because the doctors have to go in there and flush your system and make sure everything's cleaned out. And I'm glad I was asleep when they did what they described to my wife they did, because I was not totally empty. They had to go in there and cleanse it out by blowing. By the description made me go, and my butt doesn't hurt after this. They had to put a hose up my butt and blow air out. Yeah, blow it out with air. Yeah, I feel sorry for anybody who had to deal with that, because that ain't a pleasant smell coming out of the tail end of a northbound moose. Um, Excuse me. I can't do that. But oh, I can't be in here much longer. I gotta deal with food. Um, it went well. The procedure went well. Granted, I did have the aftermath effects, which was basically being extremely tired and flu-like symptoms: tired, cold, sore. And after what my wife described to me, what the doctors had to do with, I'm like, and my post my rear end does not hurt, but my joints, my bones, my muscles, everything hurt except for that area. And I'm like, why the heck? Well, that's part of the aftermath. Is you get flu-like symptoms, and that's because your body has no nutrition in it. Um, you're weak. You're cold because of the factor of no energy, nothing for your body to burn for heat. Um, Granted, on the way home, um, mom stopped by Arby's, and I should have gotten two sandwiches instead of one, because like I don't even remember eating a sandwich. I just remember having food in front of me. Um, so that means either I was extremely in and out of consciousness, or what they call waking sleep. Um, but I was like, that was not enough food. I gotta find something else to eat. I just don't know what, and I did not have the strength nor yeah, I was not in a position to just get up and make me food. Mom was kind enough to make me a couple oodles and noodles, um, which was nice of her. I wish I had food in the. Excuse me, I have an itch. Eh. I wish I had food in the refrigerator, leftovers and whatnot, for her to just pop in the microwave for me. But she did what she could. I'm not complaining. I'm just happy that mom actually stepped up to take care of both me and Jerry. Not saying that Jerry was not capable of taking care of me. She did what she could. And I'm happy she did what she did. As for that was Friday. Saturday, it was one of those days where it was like, okay, I have X amount of energy. I need to try to build up my strength and my energy, but I feel so lethargic and tired, and just I don't know if I did a video on Saturday. Yeah, I think I did. I did one on Saturday, and then I did one on Sunday, I think. But I was just like, oh my God. Saturday was like, best way I can describe it would be like New Year's Day of 2020, where we partied like crazy, or, well, we didn't, but it was, I didn't have a headache, but I had that feeling of, okay, when did I get drunk and how did I get into my home type situation. I was just like that, in and out of coherency. And then, yeah, yesterday I was like, okay, I feel better. I gotta do laundry. I gotta do this. I gotta. But I only had so much energy, so much strength. It's like that. I don't know if Jerry came up with it or who came up with it. The spoon theory. You've only got so many spoons, and each task you do takes away a spoon. And depending on how healthy or how well you feel each day determines how many spoons you have to start with in the first place. Um, yeah, let's just say I went through all my spoons quickly because I didn't have that many in the first place. But sometimes that's how it is. It depends on how your body reacts to certain events, especially, surgery and whatnot. And no, I did not have surgery because they didn't cut me open. They just, knocked me out and did a colonoscopy. And I guess that's about the closest thing I can get to surgery right now because I haven't had any major surgery. But I'm glad I did it. Not exactly happy with the. I don't know if you can see that little mark right there. Let's see if I turn my wrist just right. It's where they have the IV into my wrist because that was the only place they can find it. And I'm like, why don't you put it in the arm like everybody else does? Well, because of the way your arm will be bent while you're doing this procedure. And I'm like, okay, all right. But when they pulled this out, it was a bleeder. And they had it wrapped in a gauze, one piece of gauze with a piece tape over it. And I was sitting there in the recovery room, and I happened to look down, and the sleeve of my one shirt, the shirt I was wearing, had blood all over it. I'm like, think we got a problem here. And they're looking at it going, oh, yeah. And a piece of gauze with that little piece of tape was all, it was like saturated in my blood. So they had to put a different piece of gauze and better tape on there. And even though it did bleed onto the tape, we left it there. And my wife, at one part of the day, was like, your hand is extremely cold. And she realized that they put the tape on so hard that it was literally cutting off circulation. So we had to slowly unpeel it. And she had a piece of gauze and whatnot ready to cover it up and put the different tape on it. Luckily, we didn't have to because we did not have to because it had stopped bleeding. But I was like, dang, I never bled that much from that part of my body. But yeah, I guess if I twisted my wrist wrong or moved my wrist wrong, it could have caused the needle to tear. I don't know. But everything is good on that area. This morning, before doing this, I read everybody's comments and whatnot. I answered a whole bunch of them because I could get my mind was good enough to answer those questions. One, I had one comment which made no sense whatsoever. Literally, it made no sense. It wasn't even talking about anything I've ever talked about. And I was like, what? So that's like the only one I removed. Then there was this one person who wanted to nitpick about how I said sleep apnea. Now, I say it the way I say it because of the fact that that's how I've heard it been said. I've heard it come from my wife. I heard it come from a doctor in New York. That's what it sounds like when people are talking about it on TV or whatever. So I'm repeating it the way I hear it. Now, if doctors are saying it the way I'm repeating it, and you got a problem with the way I'm saying, then you got a problem with those doctors. And they're the ones who get the professional training and whatnot. So either I'm hearing it differently because of my ears, or they're saying it the way I say it, and the way Jerry says it, and the way it sounds like from doctors. So if you got a problem with the way I say it, that's on you. And the nitpicking is just ain't no use for it. I've been around the world. I've been to other countries. I've heard other people speak in their language and learned their language. In fact, I can learn foreign languages better than I can learn my own. Especially since my first words did not come out English. It came out Tagalog, which is the Filipino language, or the language of the Philippine Islands. So my words were not in English saying no, no, no. Mm-mm. My first words weren't mom or dad. It was hindi, hindi, which in Filipino is Tagalog for no. And the reason why that was, according to my mom, was because we had in the Philippines, the Filipinos are willing to work with the military. So we had a house off base because we were a family with 6 foot walls, armed guards, a garden or a yard boy, yard keeper, however you want to put it, and a house girl. And the house girl's job mainly was no, it was a house girl who was in control or the boss over the Filipino workers. And then we had a nanny come in to help mom take care of me because, no offense towards my mom, but she was not exactly ready or equipped to deal with the child. And I was no ordinary child. I was definitely a troublemaker from the get go. We joke about how I was born. I was a breech birth. And it wasn't the fact of that. And at most breech births are feet first. Mm-mm. I was a breech birth with my legs up around my body. My butt was the first thing to come out. Yeah. They thought I was going to have all kinds of walking issues or leg issues because of my legs being the way they were when I decided to introduce myself to the world. So I introduced myself to the world butt first. But the house girl Verge, she was always saying no to me because when she went to change my diapers, I would get this goofy look on my face and pee. And I don't mean just a trickle, I mean a water cannon. So every time she saw that look, she's like, no, 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 and try to cover me up as quickly as possible. But these are stories from my parents. So, and I kind of, the way my personality is, I'm like, yeah, I can see myself doing something like that. Just because I'm a little stinker, but, so my first words weren't even English. They were Tagalog. Um, and I learned German when we were in Germany off the streets faster than the school could teach me. It was an American school on base, and they were teaching the students basic German. So if we were living off base, we would have a basic idea of what people were trying to tell us. Of course, learning German on the streets, you learn their colorful language. But my wife and I nowadays make fun of the German language. There's a gentleman on TikTok he'll pick a word, and the word he'll speak the word in each different language that comes out. And at the end of the skit was always the word in German, and it sounded guttural or very harsh, and he'd be like simple word as hospital. No, not hospital. Oh God, I can't remember the word now. But anyhow, he's very funny. I mean, he'll do all the different. He'll do hospital in 4 different language, and the fifth one was German, and it was like hard, guttural. What was? Oh yeah, hospital, Krankenhaus. Uh huh. Right. So you know, it's interesting how certain languages can be, they can sound very harsh and guttural, but it's, I guess, the way they are. I mean, Germany especially, because it used to be much bigger than what it was until, oh, first we had the Prussian War, then we had the border skirmish for between France and Germany. Was that the Prussian War? Or was that other war I can't remember the name of? But Germany has always had a conflict of one form or another due to border disputes, and Germany got really big in the early era, and I can't remember what dates they were, but other countries wanted to get bigger, and of course, border sport disputes and wars and whatnot, happened. But yeah, it is what it is, and history is something of an interest to me. So, but I'm happy with a lot of the other comments. Yes, I went off the trail and came back to the trail. There was only those two comments, those two people, or those two groups, those two comments. Let's just call them comments. The one that I left because of the argument between other viewers about my pronunciation of a simple term. Just it made no sense. Why? Why are we going to nitpick over, first it was nitpicking over the fact that I was saying the word wrong. And then there was just nitpicking just for the sake of nitpicking. And I'm just like, so we're going to nitpick about me pronouncing sleep apnea the way I pronounce it, because that's the way I heard it. Then the very last comment before I put my comment in there was somebody just correcting somebody else for spelling out the word nitpicking the way they did. Well, when I answer questions, I do the voice to text, then I edit whatever the text got wrong. And when I said the word nitpicking, it put it as one word. And somebody was like, oh no, it's supposed to be two different words. Huh? Okay, whatever. If that's what you're coming on here for, to critique my pronunciations or to critique whatever it is you want to critique, unless you're going to be constructive about it, I don't care. I'm 50 years old. I am going to talk the way I talk. I'm going to act the way I act, and I'm going to do what I want to do, no matter what the world around me wants me to do. As far as I'm concerned, it is my God-given right to do what I please, as long as it's not something stupid like, I don't know, stealing. The worst one I can think of would be, committing a high crime. And I'm the type of person where if you do anything that I would consider a high crime, and the Bible considers it a high crime, yeah, we've gotten a little lax on that. Because I think the punishment should fit the crime. My mom, myself, and Dre had a nice little talk about that the other day, and I was like, yeah, I think if you do a certain kind of crime, that should be your punishment. And Dre's like, well, some people are looking to die if they just don't have the guts to do it themselves. And I'm like, no, I wasn't thinking about that. That's an automatic no. That's an automatic a situation where even the guy upstairs wouldn't even accept that. But then I had the brilliant idea, of course, it's like, I don't know if that's a smart idea or not. Take some of these criminals who do minor crimes. I'm not talking about like the murderers or anything like that, but take those who deserve a fair punishment, but not an extreme punishment. Put them in the Marine Corps. Yeah. Put them in the Marine Corps. If that's not an eye opener or anything like that, yeah, the guy's mentally gone. But that was my opinion. I'm not saying we should do it, but I'm thinking, you know what? They either did the crime because of the fact that they're hungry or they needed something that they couldn't afford to buy, so they stole it. Put them in a job where they can earn a living and be proud of it. And the military, for as I'm concerned, is a good place for them. They'll learn a lot of things and have a career that will get them money. Um, but as for those who do the high crimes, yeah. See, I remember back in the 70s and early 80s where you did a high crime, you weren't sitting waiting for, you weren't sitting in a cell. You were sitting in a cell waiting for your turn in death row. And that's why a lot of people did not want to commit crimes, because they knew if they committed a bad enough crime, um, there is no way out. Not unless within a given period of time, investigators can find the person guilty or not. I mean, Texas still does it. A couple other states that still do it. And that, granted, in Texas, I've been there a couple times. Most most Texans have or carry a gun, and most of the time it's in the open, because I think Texas is one of those states that are keeping the right to carry as long as it's in view. In other words, you can't carry it underneath a jacket. It has to be visible so people know you're carrying a weapon. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of gun crimes don't happen in Texas, because it's like, oh, you want to pull a gun? I've got a gun right here. Let's see, you want to take this someplace where there's no bystanders, and, what's that? Guns at high noon type thing? I don't know. But yeah, the first time I went down to Texas, and we were we went shopping, and I can't remember where we went shopping, if it was HEB or one of those stores, some like food store. It wasn't like just a 99-cent store or something like that. But we went shopping, and I saw this gentleman with a nice looking 6 shooter. Yeah, old fashioned looking, old fashioned, I don't know how many rounds he might have had in that gun, but it was a nice looking, old Western type gun with all the nice polished chrome and pearl handle and all that stuff. And I just looked at him. I looked down and went, "Oh, okay, this guy's got a gun. Okay, what's going on here?" And after looking around and seeing a number of other people with guns that were in the view, none of them were, looked like they were carrying a badge or anything like that. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? Because every place I lived, you couldn't carry a gun. Well, I don't know how many states that I've lived in, or been to, have repealed that or changed that, but it's just like, And our friend that we were staying with was like, "Oh yeah, here in Texas, you can carry a gun as long as it's not concealed. It has to be open carry." I'm like, "Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a gun person. I really don't like guns. They make too much noise. I like the old-fashioned way. Something that doesn't make a lot of noise, but it gets the point across. Especially if you're a good enough aim where that arrow whizzes by your ear and nicks you, and it kind of makes you go, oh, okay. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I got the point. I'm out. Um, that's just me. I like the quiet and deadly archaic weapons. And the only time you know it's coming is because you hear it sliding out of that sheath, or that clanking of a metal chain that's hooked to a ball and what they call a ball and chain. I mean, those the ball and chain, when it was originally designed, had like metal spikes sticking out of it. So you get whacked with that with somebody who's got enough swing and enough power behind it. That's going to concave somebody's head real quick. It's going to make a sickly thud noise. That in fact, somebody breaks in your house and you're proficient with archaic weapons, and that in fact, are knowing your house, whether they have a gun or not. You can be hiding in the shadow. Somebody walks by, you can grab them just right and jam that dagger right into his kidney, or liver. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there, but I'm just thinking about home defense, old-fashioned home defense. Of course, love to get to know this guy that I've been watching on TikTok. I think he's up in Canada, but I'm not sure. But he raises, I don't know if he raises them or if I don't know how he got started, what his story is, but he has I'm going to call it a paddock because it's a giant pen with a small pack of wolves. And these wolves treat him like another member of the pack. They actually treat him like the hierarchy, like the alpha. And he's always talking to these wolves, and the one that he's always, petting and hugging and playing around with, I don't know if it's the beta, not the beta. The beta is actually, trying to think of the hierarchy and how it's, alphas usually are a mated pair. Betas are usually like the nursemaids while the pack goes hunting. Omegas are the lowest of the low. They're the ones that gets basically beat up and picked on. And but anyhow, this guy goes into that paddock, and he always talking with the wolves and talking about the wolves, and every so often one will be he's got this platform that they can stand on. Every so often one will be like next, the one he's always playing around with will like groan or growl or do something like that, and he'll just turn around and talk with the wolf or growl back or whatnot, and the wolf seems to understand, okay, I'm not in charge. But the one thing I know this guy does not ever have to worry about is having somebody break into his place, because the way it looked is his cabin that he lives in is basically surrounded by the paddock, so the wolves can be all over the house, be all over that area, and the only way in is through the front door of the house. Now, there was one time I was watching him, and he had a young pup, wolf dog, that lived with him in the house. Yeah, I'm sorry. I see something like that looking back at me in the darkness. I'd be like, hey, I'm lost. Who lives here besides you? But see, I know how to react. I know these guys, most animals, most wild animals, depending on how you act or react, depends on how they act. So it's just animals. I love animals. Now, if I was 20 years younger and I had a notion to do something like that, I'd find somebody who could teach me how to do it. Of course, if I was 20 years younger, I might have a better chance of being able to work with Steve Irwin or Terry Irwin or the Australia Zoo that they built that's still going strong, thanks to the Irwin family. I mean, Robert is very active in the zoo. Bendy has her family, but is still active with the zoo. In fact, I was watching, I see them on Instagram all the time. They had a little video of Bendy's baby girl. I don't remember her name. But, that little baby, cute as a button, and loves to, like, try to touch the various animals, and she's gonna grow up basically in a zoo with animals all around her, and who knows where she can go when she grows up. If she's gonna stay with the zoo because it's the family thing, or what, you know. But she's the next generation of Berwins, so who knows. But anyhow, I'm sorry for babbling. I'm sorry for being all over the place. I'm excited for a lot of different things, and I know it's already been 30 minutes and I've been in here too long, and Jerry might have a little bit of what happened? I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, how are you guys going to go camping in Jerry's condition? Well, let's get things straight. Right now, with Jerry's condition, no, we're not going to go camping, because she would not be able to handle being in that back brace for extended periods of time. There's a lot of things that cannot happen until she is given the go sign. Basically, we're waiting for the doctor to say, okay, you can start walking. Then we're waiting for the doctor to say, okay, let's get your back straightened out. Let's get it all fixed up so you don't have to have the brace. So we might be prepared. We might be able to go camping right before I have to go back to work with college. Or it might not happen until next summer. The thing is let's get prepped. Let's get things straightened out. Let's get things figured out. Let's get certain items that we can get from Amazon, or if it goes on really cheap sale at Walmart, let's go ahead and get it now because it's on sale. Excuse me. That's what we're doing. We're looking at the sales. And if there's a sale for a particular item that we know we're going to need, we're going to purchase it. One of the purchases that we got, and it should be arriving in like 3 to 4 days. Or no, it's supposed to be arriving today. And it was a multi-piece camping set. Has a tent big enough for 4, or in this case, me and Jerry. 2 camping chairs, a bunch of accessories for like $22 or something like that. I can't remember. It was ridiculously cheap. Now, before I went to New York, I had similar equipment. I had a tent big enough for 2. I had a sleeping bag. I had a camp pillow, and I had some camping gear. That all got damaged or destroyed in Superstorm Sandy, because it wasn't in the basement, but it was in a closet that got flooded. So all my camp gear turned to crap because of the combination of seawater surge and sewer water. Yeah. So it's like, nope, that's going in the garbage because could not clean it up. It was so saturated in muck, and I was like, no, just toss it. I'll get a new one if we ever decide to go camping again. So that camp set that we just got for dirt cheap, because put it this way, the things that is coming with the camp set would normally be over $100, maybe $200. We got it for dirt cheap. And it's a Coleman, or not a Coleman. It's an Ozark Trail. My old stuff, I think, was either a Coleman or was not Eddie Bauer. Heck no, I could not afford Eddie Bauer back then. So it had to be something cheap but durable. So I think it was a Coleman. When did I get that? Did I get that back in the 80s when Dad was still alive and we were camping? Or did I get it in the 90s when I was hoping to go camping by myself? I don't know, but like somebody asked me, a tent? How's Jerry going to be able to sleep in a tent? I don't see how she's going to be it. When Jerry wants to try it, I was kind of concerned too, because like, you're going to have to be getting up off the floor. You're going to have to get off the ground unless we buy a cot. And she goes, no, try it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to get hurt. She goes, no, I'm going to try it. I'm like, okay, we'll try it. But the good thing is if we go, we'll have the van with us. So if for whatever reason she cannot feel comfortable enough to sleep on the ground, she can always sleep in the minivan. So I'm not too worried about that. I mean, yeah, I do have my concerns, but I'm not like, no, you can't do that. I'm gonna be like, okay, you want to try, that's fine and dandy, but be careful of your knee, be careful of your back, be careful of anything and everything. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and try it. And like I said before, we are both adamant. We are both so excited to go do this that I mean extremely highly, don't think anybody is gonna be able to just dissuade us or, yeah, I can't talk all of a sudden. Let's just put it this way. Nothing you guys can say is going to stop us from doing this because we both want it. We're both excited about it. In fact, as soon as we got the sleeping bags, Jerry was so excited that she was like, can we do this now? Can we go camping now? And I was like, well, where are we going to do it? Are we going to do it in the back of the van? We don't have an air mattress or foam padding, or how do you want to do this? Because I was like, okay, sure. I mean, when she got excited about it, I was feeling like, this was Saturday or yesterday or something like that. And it's not that I'm not excited. It's just more one of those like, pump the brakes, sister. I know you're excited. I'm excited, but what about your back? What about the back brace? What about your walking capabilities? We're not going to be able to go camping with that wheelchair in the back end of the minivan because it takes up too much space, and I don't want to just pull the wheelchair out of the back of the minivan and park it someplace, or try to tether it to our van so nobody walks off with it, which I highly doubt anybody will. But one thing or another is just like, no. It's like, you're not really ready for it physically. So no, let's just, keep that excitement to keep things going forward. And then we'll see how we are after heck, maybe on the 13th of July, her birthday, she'll get that green sign that she can start walking, and maybe even a green sign to not worry about the brace. Just don't do anything extreme like heavy lifting or anything like that. And then we can go the weekend after. I don't know. We'll see. But that's the fun thing about the future, is it's not written yet. The future is only written by, two people. God, who wants you to go to a certain direction, or yourself, who is going in whatever direction you feel is necessary. That's one of the splendid things about mankind. We have been given the free will to do as we please. But it's even more pleasing when you please a man upstairs, because then you get more of a euphoric, pleasurable feeling. Excuse me. But anyhow, I've been babbling for 45 minutes, and I need to get going before I get really in trouble. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about this video, go ahead and put them in there. I will do my best to answer them. If you're new to my channel and want to join to hear about our adventures and our life, go ahead and if you want to, click on the subscribe button. And once you do that, there will be a little bell pops up. And once you hit that bell, YouTube will inform you when I put in my next video. Until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.